I feel like I'm doing all the right things, and I put in so much work to get back to this point. I feel like I'm living for you. I got you first now. Again, I'm leading Bible studies, with my teammates. Now I'm a leader at FCA. And now I get my senior year taken away from me.
Welcome to Unthought Productions at our Unheard series. If this is your first time, welcome. We want to just take time to introduce ourselves. My name is Darius Jones, co-founder of Unthought Productions, and this is my boy that I'm with,
Darius Williams.
D. Will. So in this video, we are sharing part 2 of Darius's testimony. We were speaking and we just really believe that testimonies are just a display of God's power and purpose. They're all powerful and purposeful. And in this video, we'll be getting more into the depths of God's intentions in our lives, even if it may seem like the opposite is happening.
Yeah, man, absolutely, man. Part 1 was, man, God truly moved through our conversation, and I pray it had an impact on everybody that's come across that video. And if you haven't checked out part 1, make sure you go check out part 1 before you tap into part 2. But like you said, man, I just dive deeper into, man, God's sovereignty. His sovereignty is something that obviously just, man, it just keeps me in awe. Again, like how he said, man, how even in the midst of trial and tribulation, where we feel like God doesn't hear us, how he's moving behind the scenes. And we might not understand in the moment, but in hindsight, once we come out on the other side, man, you can really see how God is so strategic. And again, goes back to his sovereignty. So I can't wait for part 2 to drop. And I'm just grateful for the opportunity for my brother to be able to come and share this with y'all. And I pray it blesses somebody and it brings encouragement to y'all wherever you find yourself, that know that God sees you. And even though you might not feel might not feel close, or you might not feel he's far or distant, man, he's right there with you. And let this be an encouragement to you that once you come out on the other side, whatever you're going through, man, you're going to see how God puts it all together and works everything together for your good in the end.
Absolutely. Man, we just want to first thank you all for joining us for this, because we want to just say God's hand is upon it, and upon our hearts to be able to, again, share these stories, because we know, again, going back to what he's talking about, intention, the details, sometimes you don't see it, but God is there. And so we're just hoping that this will be able to encourage who are the believers, transform, and even ignite you to continue to push forward and have endurance through your time and through whatever season you may be in, as well as the non-believer. If you are have questions about God, we just pray that this video will provide answers, if God so be it, to do it. And we just hope that this also would ignite you to pursue a relationship with Christ and also a godly walk. So we just would like to ask if you would just please like and subscribe. And now we just want to present to you part 2 of D. Will's testimony, Faith Over the Field.
Yes, sir. Again, I'll give you part 2 of my testimony, because after I came back from that injury, so I eventually did come back from that injury, right? So now I got Jesus, right? And I'm walking through my relationship. That was in 2023. So I come back and play that 2020, that 2023 year. The first part of the season, I'm fighting, get my spot back. And then towards the end of that season, I'm starting, and I'm playing. And at the end of the season, I'm frustrated with kind of the program at the time. And it's in my heart, man, I'm going to transfer, like I'm gone. I done got enough credit to graduate. I'm out of here, So long story short, the Lord ends up calling me back to Barton. So that's going into 2024. I'm starting to go again, get involved in FCA and stuff like that to be able to, again, build that community. So going to 2024, I meet Pastor Aaron, who's now the lead pastor here at Peace Church. 2024, I get baptized, come back for that spring year. I'm one of the leaders on the team, right? So I come back for that last year. I told my boys I'm gonna come back, and I ended up getting hurt again. Week 2, again, I'm senior, which I felt like was gonna be the year. I'm like, man, I see how you're gonna bring it back around. I'm gonna get the storybook, the Cinderella ended. I got hurt again, week 2. And like you said, now it's to the point, like, it's almost like you gotta laugh. Like, it's like, Lord, like, all right, bro, like part 1, but now part 2. And it's like, now I feel like I'm living for you. I got you first now. Again, I'm leading Bible studies, my teammates, now I'm a leader at FCA. I feel like I'm doing all the right things. And I put in so much work to get back to this point. And now I get my senior year taken away from me. you know? So it's like, but through that though, again, what are you trying to show me? You know what I mean? And I think through walking through that the second time, now I learned another important lesson to, again, feel my emotions, but not let my emotions lead me. And I read a great, a thing that always stuck with me. Your feelings are great indicators, but they are horrible leaders. So again, we have to take the time to feel my emotions. You know what I mean? Because the first time I was going through my injury, I tried to suppress it. You know what I mean? Act like I'm good. And the Lord revealed that to me. That's why you keep falling, because you're not speaking about it. So the second time around, it's like, okay, now I got to know how to, again, know how I feel. Like, but again, don't let my emotions lead me. So that was a time, but in that, man, walking through those different trials and those different tribulations, man, allowed me to, again, be real with God. You know what I mean? And like, man, I don't know what you're doing. You know what I mean? But I'm trusting you. But in that, taking that heart posture, man, he came and he did some crazy things, and he turned my completely heart around. Because again, the simple for you today, you know, talking about where I am today, man, and where I thought I would be, is all an act of God. So again, being able to accept, again, they're going to be trials and tribulations that come your way, but ultimately how you view them and your mindset of how you attack them. If you attack it the right way, man, it'll allow you to grow with the Lord in such a beautiful way. And again, build a relationship. That's what makes a relationship stronger, walking through it with somebody. Again, that's what, again, makes a team, again, a teammate, right? You walking through hard season of life, man, where you working out, you getting up at 6 a.m., you training together, you know, you having bad practice, having good practice, and all that, man, it builds a bond going through all of that. And Jesus is the same way. You walking with him. Again, if you allow him into those situations and you learn how to suffer well, and it'll build that intimacy with him where you're walking through him to where it's like, man, I know him and he knows me, because, man, we've walked through those things together, you know? And I think that goes back to, man, we got to learn, again, as believers, understanding it comes with suffering. And he experienced everything we went through on a completely different scale. That's unimaginable, you know? So I think, man, speaking of that intimacy, I know how it was built with me, was walking through and inviting the Lord in through those different trials and tribulations I walked through during my time in college. But so let's go back to, again, 2024, where again God has called me back now. I meet Pastor Aaron, man. I get baptized, but at this point, man, where it's like, man, I'm locked in. Like, man, at this point, shout out my guy Jaquan Lynch, man. Again, that team led Bible study where it's only like 5 or 6 guys. Our freshman year is like grown now to like 20 and 30 guys, and we meet every single week. And he started mentioning things like, he like pushing me to like kind of the lead that, you know, once he leaves and stuff like that. So I started leading the Bible study. Now I'm going to FCA more and more, like actually participating in the huddles. And it comes to at the end of 24, and we're leaving for that summer. And my guy Phil, who's our lead rep here on Barton's campus, he's like, hey man, I really think you should you know, be a huddle leader at this FCA leadership camp over the summer. And I was like, you know how you tell people things and you say like you're gonna think about it, but you already got the answer made up in your mind that you're not gonna think about it. In my head, I'm like, nah. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm just now getting to this point, man, where I'm all in with the Lord, like for real. Just got baptized. I'm like, man. And even in before I'm even walking in what I am now, I already held such a seriousness for dealing with the Word of God and ministering the Word of God. Like that wasn't like that was no joke to me. Like that was a very big deal. So I'm like, Lord, like I ain't even worked through the Gospels yet. Like how do you want me to go and minister to some kids? You know what I mean? So I was like, nah, I'm good. You know what I mean? But I told him I'll think about it. But I did go home and pray that night, and I was like, Lord, like, if you want me to do this, like I'll do it. But I'm like, Lord, again, telling everything, like, how am I gonna do this when I don't feel like I'm not qualified? He's like, I don't need you to know everything. I just need you to trust me. I bet. So I ended up, man, going to the camp, man, all the way up to the day before the camp, man. You know, I'm preparing, you know, I'm praying, you know, and of course the Lord having the humor, you know, this is the biggest camp they ever had, man, like over 700 plus kids. The leader of the camp, one of our leaders of the camp, he comes to me, he's like, hey man, I want you to share your testimony in front of the whole camp on the first night. So I'm like, Lord, this is what we doing? You know, but I promised him before he went to that camp, I was like, Lord, I'm going to stay out your way and I'm going to let you move. And I remember that night, man, like I'm crying because I'm like, Lord, I don't know what I'm here for. I don't feel qualified. I don't know what I'm doing here. I can't do this. And I remember I put on Lead Me On by Chandler Moore. And I was playing that over and over again. Again, him just saying in that song, man, like, Lord, I'm just following you. Like, I'm just leading you. I don't know where you're taking me. This don't really look, and it's uncomfortable to me, but I'm trusting you, man. I ended up having a great just experience throughout that camp. And the Lord really kind of flickered some stuff like, hey, man, I felt the fulfillment that football could have never brought me. You know what I mean? A kid coming up to you telling you, you know, how you impacted them and how they want to follow Jesus more so because they see the Jesus living inside of you and telling you how to impact on them in that way. Again, impacting somebody's eternity, where that's something though, no stat, no pick, six, no tackle for loss. It can't replace that feeling. So it's like, okay, I can kind of see myself kind of maybe doing this maybe, but again, after, you know, coming back and I'm gonna have the farewell season because this is where the Lord called me back again to come back to Barton. So again, after I come back here, you know, had this last season with the guys, you know, and I move up, go play Division I again, you know, maybe this is something I can maybe explore. Well, again, like I told you, I come back week 2, get hurt again. And now throughout this time, I walk into discipleship with my guy, Pastor Aaron, who's now the lead pastor here. And through that process where I'm like, all right, Lord, now I'm more mature in my faith again. It's the second time I'm going through it. I'm like, Lord, what's really going on? You know what I'm saying? Because you know the work I put in, you know the amount of hours I put into this. And I've got you first now. So now again, what are you up to? You know what I'm saying? What if you're steering me to something else that maybe I'm not seeing? So now at this time, again, I'm taking over that Bible study. I'm leading that Bible study pretty much every week. I'm a leader at FCA. I'm speaking more. And I had this moment where I'm at a Sunday night service. And after the Sunday night service, you know, the guy who was speaking, who came and sat in my FCA huddle only one time, we only met one time, you know, he preaches on, you know, Jesus loves you, right? And after that, you know, he was saying, you know, how Jesus loves you. You know, he broke down, what does Jesus love you mean? Like, what does that mean? You know, and great message, great sermon. Shout out my guy, Joey. After that, man, he gets up and he was like, man, he does like an altar call. He was like, man, you know, with Jesus loving you, that means you have a great calling. You know, you have a calling or specific calling on your life that the Lord wants you to carry out. And the Lord, as soon as he said that, I'm like, Lord, no. Because at this point, I'm already wrestling. Like, again, Lord, is this the end for me with football? Is this ministry thing kind of coming more prevalent? You know what I mean? Because you're using people to speak to that, you know, and I'm just like, and I'm denying it because, again, I still wanted to be football. So I'm already in that wrestle. And he was like, so I'm like, man, I'm not going up there. I'm not going up there, but I'll pray right here in my seat. So he ends up praying. And then at the end, this dude gets back up on stage and he's like, man, I'm a dismiss service. But he's like, man, I really feel like, you know, there may be somebody out here, some people out here, man, that's really struggling in this area of discerning, you know, what's God's will, what's the next steps in your life. And now at this point, now I'm like, I'm crying, you know. So as my friends leave to the right, I go to the left, I go down to the altar, and there's about 10 or 12 of us, you know, at the front. And he's like, man, so sit in the presence, sit with the Lord, and you know, I'll get to you when I can. But he points to me and he's like, but you first. And we have a conversation. I tell him everything that's going on with football and everything. He was like, looks at me and smiles. He was like, you called the ministry, bro. Straight up. He just tells me. And when he see that, man, I just start crying because I knew it was God speaking through him to confirm what made it already what I've been feeling. And so he prays over me, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. He doubled down on, he's like, and I'm talking about full-time vocational ministry too. I'm not talking about nothing part-time. So I'm like, I don't even know what full-time vocational ministry means, but you know, I'm like, okay, all right, cool. So I remember leaving that night and I woke up that morning because at this time I was still lifting with the team and everything. And I go to lift. I don't really talk to nobody. I'm not angry, but I'm more so like grieving, you know, because I know now, like, okay, so that preview that I just had over leadership camp, this is happening like now, you know, and that means football might have to die. So I remember after I lift, I go back to my dorm, and you know, I'm trying like, man, let me get in my word. Let me, you know, I couldn't, and I just close my book and I go to the stadium, and I listen to my worship music, man, and I just start talking to him, and I'm just crying. I'm crying because I'm like, Lord, Is this what it is? Is this, because it all started to make sense. Like, it's like that big revelation, like, yeah, brother, there ain't no running. This is it. This is what I have for you. And now you got to have to make a decision. Are you going to obey me or are you going to run from me? And in my heart, I'm like, man, I don't want to be like Jonah. I don't want to run from you. I don't want to run from you. Because again, when I run from you, I'm outside of your protection. I'm outside of your grace. I'm outside of all that. And again, I can lead myself into more danger by running from you. But it was like, but this means football, like football has to die. Like even still think about it, bro. It still gets me emotional because I love ball. And I worked so hard to get it. I didn't just go to college just to, say I played college football. I came to college to dominate. I came to college to be the All-American, All-Conference, and I didn't get that. And that didn't happen for me. And I remember praying to the Lord. I said, okay. It took me a while to even get out the words. I was like, Lord, if you want me to do this, if you're calling me to lay football down, I'll do it. But I said, there's a piece in my heart that, again, this needing to prove, this needing to validate myself at this level. I said, this can keep me from being obedient to you. So I need you to deal with this because I can't do it. I love it too much. So I say, Lord, I need you to come in and soften my heart and realign my heart to give me a heart that desires the thing that you want for me. Because I know, Lord, if you calling me to do this, I trust and believe that whatever you have for me is greater than anything I could ever want for myself. So again, if you calling me to this ministry thing, even though I don't understand, I don't know anything really about ministry, but I'm trusting whatever it is you got called for me. I'm trusting that's better than anything I could ever want with football. So, but it literally feels like a death. Again, it really felt like that, like something was dying. That love, that desire to have, to make plays on the biggest level, to have everybody chanting your name again, which again, wanting glory for myself, I'm dying to that. And now I'm picking up my cross and choosing what you have for me. And the verse that I was leaning on through that time is when in Luke, I think it's in Luke, I want to say Luke 20. I feel like I'm gonna mess it up, but it's the passage in Luke where Jesus is finna go he's in the garden, he's finna go get crucified. He's like, Father, if you're willing, take this cup from me, but nevertheless, let your will be done. And I prayed that scripture, bro, over and over, because that's what it felt like. Because again, Jesus didn't feel like, he like, hey man, if there any other way that this mission can be, I know what the mission is, but Father, if there's any other way that this can be done. And then, I love how it says, after that, an angel comes down, and comforts him. And after he's in anguish to the point where, bro, he literally starts sweating blood. So when people talk about anxiety, like that's anxiety on a whole nother level. You know what I'm saying? But he said, nevertheless, let your will be done. And that's what I felt like, Lord, this is what I want to do. Football, where I see myself, that's what I want. But Lord, nevertheless, if this is your will for me, this is where I'm following. Again, that death to like football, I had to really lay it down to pick up what I'm walking in now, which is, full-time ministry. And so bro, it was a process. But in that, in his still goodness and mercy, bro, he still allowed me to come back by the grace of God and play my last game on my senior day. And I ended up grading out the highest, out of all the defense. I come back and ball and still, again, the recovery, because ended up getting injections again instead of surgery. The recovery is supposed to be 3 months. I ended up coming back in like a month and still playing. So on a partially torn patella tendon, and he still allowed me to have that closure to step into what I'm stepping into now, which is full-time ministry. But yeah, man, it was a death, bro. But again, walking through that, he unveiled that to me, and I walked through that with him. So that's what I'm saying, man. Man, dude, through those trials and tribulations, through that hurt, through that pain, where I'm like, I can't even seek your hand no more because I don't even know what you're up to. But I learned how to seek his face. I learned how to seek his face, man. And Philip Anthony Mitchell, he talked about that in a podcast, man. Again, how we miss out on those intimate type moments because we're too busy trying to seek out what God is trying to do or what he's trying to do next, instead of just sitting at his feet and being at seeking his face, seeking him for who he is, not for what he can do. Again, seeking him for being a God of peace, a God of mercy, a God of love, a God of faithfulness. That's where but in that, again, the second time that's where, again, I just had to sit with him. Like, Lord, I can't even worry about what you're trying to do next. Because again, it don't even make sense. I don't know. So I'm just going to sit with you and I'm just going to connect with you and seek you for who you are. And in that, he came and revealed himself to me, man. And then, and in time, he revealed to me what the next steps was. No, but it was through that hurt, through that pain, and me invite him into that, to where now again, that intimacy that we talked about earlier, he knows me. I know him. And now again, it's about walking with him through that, man. But again, that death to self, bro, it hurts. It hurts. But again, bro, what he has for me now, the fulfillment, the peace, the wisdom, the relationship that I've been able to build, you can't put a price on it. You can't put a price on it. Final game, bro, was that final surrender of me laying it down. Again, what I've been working for since I was 5, 6 years old has come to an end. And so the steps to get to that, like I told you, I was walking through discipleship, so I know I'm called to ministry. And at this point, a few months before the final game, maybe a month or two, Pastor Aaron comes to me. He was like, hey, man, in our discipleship, he was like, hey, man, it's called to ministry. He's like, our youth pastor here, has really been pushing this apprenticeship thing. He's really been searching for somebody to just take up under his wing and, to learn and to grow with and stuff like that. He's like, man, I don't want to, put anything out there, but I just want you to pray on it. I want y'all to meet and just pray on it. And so at this point, I'm graduating in December. So the time ago, it was like, again, from January to August, the apprenticeship was supposed to run through. So it's very timely. So I'm like, okay. So I meet my guy Mike, who's the pastor, the youth pastor here, and we talk, and he hears my heart, I hear his. He's like, yeah, man, I really want you to pray on this, So I'm like, all right, man. So I pray on it. I'm praying on it, and he's checking in on me, man, genuinely. How you doing, man? What are you thinking? Any questions? No pressure. Never put pressure on me at all. It comes to the last week, and it's coming to the end of the season now, where again, those last moments I'm not having with my brothers, and my last away game, my last homecoming, I'm not out there with the same guys I came in with. So those last few moments were tough. So what's actually crazy, as a guy who's not even, this is on the last away game, right? Before the senior night week coming up. And before we leave, he comes up to me, he was like, hey, bro, I had a dream that you suited back up again. I'm like, what? Like, that's important to the story, because again, that's before I wasn't even thinking about really playing my last game, because again, I was almost still thinking about, even though the apprenticeship was on the table, I'm still thinking about, getting my red shirt and going back and still maybe playing. But again, the apprenticeship was on the table, so I'm like, okay, but I kind of was already leaning that direction. He's like, yeah, I came in, he's like, I had a dream, though, that you suited back up again. And I'm joking with him. I'm like, all right, like, did I have that? Like, did I have it on? Like, how'd I look out there? Like, did I look good? Like, what, you know what I'm saying? He's like, no, I ain't really got all the details about that, but I just know, like, you suited back up. So I'm like, all right, cool. So after the last away game, it was a tough loss. I'm telling my best friends at the time, one of my best friends through college, I'm like, bro, it's taking everything in me, like, to just be like, forget it, and just like suit up this last week and play with y'all. But again, I'm like, man, I'm emotional. You know what I'm saying? Again, I don't want to do nothing stupid, go out here and hurt my knee more, stuff like that. But so I come in that Monday, and my athletic trainer was like, hey, are you going to try to, maybe play this week or what, how you feeling? And I'm like, I don't really know, but I'm gonna go out cheap. How about you put your cleats on and go out there and move around and see how you feel? So I'm like, all right, cool. I go out there, just cleats, and everybody, all my boys are like turned. They turned up. They're like, oh, Smack, D Will, what you got your cleats for, bro? And I'm like, man, chill, like, chill. Like, man, it ain't on that. We just out here, we just seeing how we feel. We just moving around. So going throughout that week, I start practicing, just seeing how I feel, just see like, what if, but I'm praying, like, I'm like, Lord, I don't want to be moved off emotion. Again, I just told you, I learned how to, again, feel my emotions, but again, I don't want to let my emotions lead me into doing something that's not your will. So I'm praying like, Lord, don't let this happen. I'm emotional right now. Don't let this happen. It's not your will. So I ended up having another meeting with Mike that Wednesday, really diving into the details of what this apprenticeship is going to look like. We meet at Burrito Shack. I'm praying. I only told like one other person about it, a few other people, close friends. And that Wednesday, bro, talking with Mike, the Lord made it very clear to me, like, hey, man, this is what I want you to do. Like, this is your next step. So I'm like, okay. And I told Mike at the end of that, I said, Mike, I really need you to pray for me, because if I accept this apprenticeship, I'm gonna play in this last game on Saturday. And if I play in it, this is gonna be my final surrender. Like almost like me laying it down officially. So he's like, I got you. So I pray on it. We go through practice again that next Thursday. I call up my dad, my mom, and my older brother, because I've been kind of keeping them at bay. They've been kind of like, what you thinking about your next steps and all that. And I've been kind of giving like, oh, I'm still figuring it out. They didn't really know what all was really taking place until I told them at the end. I get on the phone with them Thursday. I'm letting them know, like, hey man, God has called me to full-time ministry. He's made it clear. And also I've already got an offer on the table with this apprenticeship, and I'm going to take it. And their heart posture was just like, hey, who are we? Like, that's what God called you to do. And it was tough. And I'm crying to him like a baby on the phone. And I'm letting him know, I'm playing this last game and this is going to be it. So I ended up going to Saturday. It was a special moment, man. That's what I'm saying, man. I ended up playing. I ended up grading out the highest. It was fun. I remember talking to one of my leaders, FCA shout out Sarah Cruz. I called her like that Friday night, letting her know, what was going on. And she gave me the advice of like, invite God into everything. From the time you wake up to the time you're out there playing, like invite him into it all, And I did, bro. And it was one of the best days of my life. One of the best days. I had fun just playing. That childlike joy of me, almost like flashbacks of when I first started playing. Just that childlike joy of playing the game. I was out there having fun, man, and I balled, and I was able to go out there and have fun. And it was crazy at the end. We ended up losing the game, when I'm crying. But everybody who came up to me, it was almost as if God was speaking through them to comfort me. Because literally every one of them in some way, shape, or form, they all said the same thing. They was like, bro, don't you hold your head down. What the Lord got next for you is way bigger than football. All of them. Like they all said it in different ways. And they was all saying, but like the impact that you had on your teammates, on everybody around you, even people you don't even know, even me, like people I haven't talked to in months. Like, bro, I've been seeing what you've been doing on social. I've been seeing your transformation. I've been seeing how the Lord's working through me, bro. Like, you don't understand how many people you impacted. Your calling way bigger than football. Everybody said so. So it was almost like the Lord, even in the midst of like, I'm crying because now the finality of it all is like, man, it's hitting. It's over with. And I remember my dad said something very profound to me on that Thursday when I called him. He said, if you go out here and you catch 6 picks, have 10 tackle for losses, you completely ball out, are you still going to remember what you told God? And he said, on the flip side, if you go out here and you don't even step foot on this field and play, will you still remember what you told God? And it was like, when he said that at first, I was like, okay, it makes sense. But after when it really hit, it was like, man, that felt good. That felt good. And the enemy came and played with my mental, like almost like he tempted tempted Eve in the garden. Like, did he really tell you not to eat from that tree? So for me, he came to, ooh, that felt good. You ain't felt that in a while. Did he really tell you, to lay down football? And really choose? And I really had to, again, remember what my dad told me. I had to stick to what the Lord told me to do. But throughout, man, he was comforting me. He was encouraging me. And dude, it took me literally, I got back to the locker room and it took me literally an hour to take off my stuff. It took me so long to take off my stuff, man, because it was like, I kept trying, but again, it really hit. I would never put these pads on again. That was my surrender. And then even in the midst of the locker room, teammates are still coming up to me. Thanking me. Again, for like, bro, telling me, you don't know how much you impacted me. Your calling is way bigger than this, way bigger than football. So even in that, man, that's what I'm saying, that final game. And again, shout out to the fam, my small group of fans that I went to that leadership camp with. They did like a special thing for me where they all wrote letters to me. They surprised me with that at the crib, like a whole basket, senior night basket, just celebrating me, like just being there for me. And they was there for me all throughout, that whole season of my life. And one of those is actually who I'm now dating. One of those was a girl who I'm now dating. Again, which the Lord used in talking about trials and tribulation. You don't know how He works. He used that, what I was going to ultimately bring us together. So, yeah, man, that senior night, man, it was special. It was a day I'll never forget. It was tough, but man, it was like also again that final. And in that, I believe that the Lord was again in his goodness and mercy and kindness to me, because I really felt like he knew like this boy ain't gonna be able to step into what I got next for him if I don't give him no closure, with it. So in that, he didn't have to do that. But I think again in his kindness and his goodness and his mercy, he was like, I'm gonna allow this boy to go out here and have one more game so he can at least step into what I have next for him with some peace. And he did that, and I went out again. I went out. People didn't think I could do it. You know what I mean? Even my head coach, like, he was like, man, bro, it's so great. He was like, cause when I kind of mentioned him about it, he's like, man, you just haven't been, active. You know what I mean? And now you about to go full throttle. He was nervous for me, but he was like, man, dog, you went out on your terms. He was just like, man, I'm so proud of you. Everybody was, my family, man, it was a special day, and the Lord was able to do that. The Lord was able to do that, bro, because let me tell you, and funny thing, after that, man, the way my knee was feeling, it was also confirmation like, yeah, brother, you're done. Yeah. You're done, man. So, yeah, man, but a special day. It was a special day. A lot of people don't know that story, again, because they just see me like, oh, I played in my last game, but they don't know, like, what that really meant, like, what that really was at that time, except for, like, my close friends and family and Mike and Pastor Aaron. So, yeah, man, it was a big deal. Best day, one of the best days of my life. I would say this statement that Kelsey Pack was a speaker at FCA, and she serves on FCA staff. She said it at a couple of camps that I've gone to and worked at. She said, the Lord will do more with your surrender than he will your performance. Meaning, when you surrender, sometimes, man, we get this thing where we're trying our best in our own effort to try to achieve certain things. But the moment you say, I'm done, and you stop and you surrender and you allow God to renew your mind and reposition your heart to where now you're working as it tells us to do in Colossians 3:23, where it says, work at it, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as if you're working for the Lord, not for human masters, for you receiving inheritance from the Lord as a reward. It is Lord Christ you're serving. So once you got that mindset, and whatever you're doing now, you're working as if you're trying to glorify him, which again is what should be your purpose in the beginning, your whole life will change. And when you take that step of obedience, even though it might be scary, it might be uncomfortable, it might be hard, if you give him your yes, it'll change your life. It'll change your life. It's gonna come at a cost though. I ain't finna sit here and sugarcoat it. It's gonna come at a cost. It's gonna cost you something. It's gonna cost you your desires, maybe what you want, maybe what your dreams is. But again, whatever the Lord has for you is greater than anything you could ever want for yourself. And that's what I would tell him. And I'm a living example of that. Again, walking in obedience, bro. Just last April, I was coming out the water getting baptized. Thinking again, I'm about to go have the best senior year of my life, and I'm about to get the fairy with the storybook ending, the Cinderella ending, where I come back and ball out and I'm all conference. I had the perfect comeback story. I didn't. But now he's used that to be able to, now I can be able to minister to the ones coming up after me and to anybody, to be able to point them back to Jesus. So again, I might not have been All-American, All-Conference in football, but I'm an All-American in the kingdom. I'm All-Conference in the kingdom now. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm on the best team. You know what I'm saying? Leading the way, trying to lead others, you know what I'm saying, to the ultimate, to our heavenly Father, and lead them to Jesus. So I don't look back, and I would just tell a man to seek him. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness. All them things that you think you want, yeah, he'll give them to you. He'll give you what he wants, because again, your desires have to match what he wants. Again, when he repositions your heart to now you want what he wants, he's gonna give it to you. So I go back. The Lord will do more with your surrender than he will your performance. Surrender. And stay out his way. Stay out his way. I'm telling you, he'll blow your mind. So that's the words out of encouragement. He loves you more than you could ever imagine. His love is, he's waiting for you. And again, whenever you're ready to take that step, and I encourage, there has to be a sense of urgency, man, because time is running out. We don't know the time, man. The world is looking a lot like how Paul said it would look in the last days. So we don't have time. But please, man, give your life over to him. Trust with him. Trust in him. Walk with him. And watch him work throughout your life.